So now let's start to light this guy. And for this one I use a little bit different technique compared to the other loop, just so you can get as much tips and tricks as possible. So we're only gonna use quad lights on this one. So quad light, where are you? There. And let's go jump out of our camera. Turn it 90 degrees, and we're gonna start off with our backlight, because on this one I wanted to have sort of a, let's start the IPR as well here and put it here. I sort of wanted this globe, when you see the Earth from the space, you have this rim light, so that's what I wanted to recreate. Let's add some more lights. This one is our backlight, back, and add one on the side. Let's call that for, what is it, left, and add a right one. Turn it 180 degrees, call it right. Maybe we can put our background backwards a bit. And I'm just putting down the lights now, and then we will adjust them when we have them in place. And then I had a top light as well. Okay, now we have something to change. Let's see here. And I think we want to have some textures on, because Cinema or Arnold doesn't, the shading will be a little bit different when we have textures on. So create a, I already created one, so I do it again. Create a standard surface, and we can put one to our concrete here. And for now I just think we can add the texture later, but we just add some materials to the stuff. This one, the glass ball, gonna be glass obviously. So do a new material and go to glass here. You can just select it here in Arnold. You probably have a preset in the other renders as well. Glass, and rendering in Arnold you always have to add a tag. So we need to add Arnold parameters, and then we need to check this box, uncheck this box. There we go, and now we actually start to see our cubes here, and it looks good. I actually think this is way cooler than the one I did. And for the ring, we need some metal. So duplicate the glass, change it to metal, and just put it on there. Let's see what happens. Yeah, we see it's a lot overexposed there. And for this path we need material as well. We can change that color to something greenish, desaturated green, dark. Yeah. Okay, now we have some textures, and of course for the cubes here. And that one is a little bit special actually. So let's duplicate this material, call this cubes. We can name them here. Path, metal, glass, and concrete. So for the cubes, open up our shader network, because we want the cubes to be a little bit different from each other. So drag the cubes onto the cubes. There we go. And then we're gonna add a utility node, and we can pipe that in to just have a look. And now when we do this look development, we can turn off the glass. Good. So in the utility we change this shading mode to flat, and the color mode we change to object ID. And now you see they have all weird different colors here, and maybe that would look nice. Let's see. Yeah, if you like colorful things, you can go with this. Otherwise, we get a ramp or RGB. Pipe this one into the main input and pipe this one in there. And now we have some subtle differences here. But we want it to be sort of green or blue I had, but now we're gonna go for green instead. And then we want one darker color and one a little bit lighter one. So let's try with this first. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah, that's nice. Good. Turn on our glass again. And actually we can add the cube material to our cloner here as well. So it has some color as well. Or our cloner sphere. Good. And the thing we wanted to do now is to add our background material as well to speed up the render. And for that we're gonna use Arnold surface flat and apply that to our plane here. And as you can see, if we add a flat, it will affect the whole scene. So we need a tag on that one and Arnold parameters, and then we're gonna uncheck all these guys. And we need to move it back a little bit. There we go, and down a bit. Let's see. There we go. Scale it up to be sure. And we don't want it to be white. We want it to be sort of dark blue-green maybe. Something along these lines. Oh, that's too bright. Something along these lines. Don't take too much time to decide background colors because we'll change it completely in After Effects later. I actually do a ramp inside of After Effects and map this out or mask this out. Okay, good. It feels like it's a little bit off center here, and it probably is, so have a look at our camera. And yes, so the set can be 0 and this is gonna be 90. Maybe we can go up a bit as well. Yeah, that looks better. And maybe we want our base to be a little bit thicker as well. Yeah, that looks better. Okay, so now we have textures on everything. Now we can start to tweak the light. But before we do that, go to frame 0 and put our lights inside of the dolly, because we want these ones to follow the animation, so we have the same lightning throughout the whole loop. And we can actually put these ones inside of null and call it lights. Lights. Oh, lights. There we go. Okay, where to start? And this one is the top. So I think we're gonna start with the left and right. And I usually do one and then I change that to the thing I want. And for this render, I remember that I wanted to have different shading on all sides. So here is pretty pretty bright. And on the right side I turned it down quite a bit, so it's darker. And then we have another shading here, so get some contrast in the objects. And the top, yeah, these two are a little bit too close, so let's change the right a bit, 0.7 maybe. Yeah, now we get some contrast here, but not so much here. Maybe we can move the right forward a bit. There we go, a little bit better. Yeah, that's good enough. Okay, let's see. Turn off everyone except the back. And for the back we want to change it slightly. So we want to get this sort of rim light around the ball here. And I won't go into too much detail, so you can spend some time on the lighting after the lesson and make it to the look you want. There we go. Yeah, I think that's pretty nice. And now we see that our metal gets way too overexposed, and you can cheat a little bit. Let's see, it's the top light that makes it. So for the top light we can actually exclude our ring here. So go to the top light, go to project, exclude, and then we just bring in our ring here. Let's find it, ring. Voila, now it's not overexposed. So that's something I do not too often, but sometimes when it's tricky lightnings. And we can also see that it's pretty overexposed here as well. And another trick would be to go to our left light and go into main, go down, and we can bring down the specular a little bit. And yes, it's a little bit better. And maybe also for the backlight we can bring down the specular a little bit. There we go. Okay, so now the lighting is in place and it starts to look good. Now we can add some texture and some roughness differences to this glass ball here. But let's start with the concrete. So go into our shader network and we're gonna add an image. And I use this sort of concrete. And yeah, we can grab in a ramp so we can control it more and pipe that one into our base color. But first of all, pipe this one into the Arnold Beauty so we can see how the mapping works. Yeah, and that looks pretty good. Nice. And now just because we have cloners here, because these are clones as you remember we did in the first lesson, it will look exactly the same. All these dots will be at the exact same position at frame 80 as frame 0, because it's perfectly alike clones here. Nice, let's continue on our concrete. Put that inside of our beauty and have a look. Yeah, and that looks pretty neat. Maybe we can make it's pretty shiny concrete here, so we can actually have 4 in roughness. Yeah, that's better. Nice. And let's work on our glass a little bit. And actually now I see something here. It's the metal is it's a glitch in the metal, and we need to fix that. Let's see. Oh, here we go. I think it's just our formula that's not closed. Yeah. So close that gap. Okay, our glass. We're gonna add some subtle specular differences. And for that we're gonna use a noise. Pipe it into Arnold Beauty and let's see how it looks. Add some scale to it. Maybe 20. And then we need to add some distortion, maybe 1. I think that will do. And I usually use the ramp RGB, but now we're gonna use ramp float just to show that you can use different techniques to achieve the same look. So here we can change the values. So here we change the black, and here we change the whites. And we want the black, total black will be total shiny or total flat surface. So I'm gonna show how this looks. So now you see the glass is super clean, but if we add a lot of white to it, it will be really blurry. But we want something along these lines probably. And now you can see there will be some areas that are a little bit more see-through up here, and some that are more blurry. And we can actually exaggerate that effect a little bit more by adding some contrast to it. Let's see how this looks. And we want it to be even blurrier. So we need to add more white. Pipe it in there. Now we can really see it. So we have some areas that are blurry, and some you can see straight through it. And I think that looks good. And there we go. I think we just did. It's only this path left here, and for that one, I think we just need to change the roughness a bit. It's a little bit too shiny now for my taste. So let's go down here and put 4. Yeah, that's good. That's better. So now I think we're just gonna make it ready to render. And we're gonna add some masks to the parts we want to use later on in After Effects. And let's start by selecting our background. Oops. Our background, and add Arnold object mask. And we can rename that to BG. What more do we need? We need a mask for this concrete stuff. And that would be this one. So just duplicate this one, hold down Command, and rename it to concrete. We need something for our path. So duplicate down here, path. And for our ring as well, the ring. So add this one down here, ring. And for our ball as well. And then we put it on the glass here. glass. Nice. And now I actually realized that we forgot to texture one little thing, and that's these guys. And for that I want to use the same color as we did on the path here. So take the path, add it to that one. And there we go. And then we can actually take the same object mask path and put that to these green ones as well. So drag it down to this one. Great. So now we're gonna add our AOVs to be active in our when we do the final render. And then we go to render settings, Arnold, AOVs, and then we scroll down a bit. And here you can see under custom that all of our masks are collected. And we can just double check them by going to display here and take concrete, press render. And there we have our mask for the concrete. Great. So now we're gonna have a look at our render settings, and we can bump up them a bit. It's 80 frames. Let's say it takes around 10 minutes, and 10 times 80 is 800, and that's about 12 hours. So that's one night of rendering. And we can take we actually need a higher number on transmission as well, because we have glass inside this render, but we don't have any subsurface, so take that away. And we don't have any volume indirect either. That will do. And one thing we also can do is that we can add some samples to our lights. So select our lights and samples and make it free. Great. And let's save this on a nice place. I usually use PNG, 16-bit, and then PNG for the multipass, 8-bit. And we can save that into render R2, or we can name it ball or 1 actually. And then we change this to ball, beauty, and R1. I usually copy that one, save, go into our multipass, create a new folder called AOV, ball, change the beauty AOV, and there we go. And now I can just start rendering here and sum up the tutorial a little bit. I would like you to just continue to tweak the light, tweak the textures, tweak the colors, tweak everything to the look you want. Just keep in mind that have all the lights inside of the dolly, so they will follow along the whole animation. And also the tag on our background, so it doesn't affect the animation. And don't be too picky on the colors, because we will be able to change them a lot later on in the comp session. And I think that's pretty much it. And then we wish that the render will be perfect. So good luck and bye.